Hello, fans, and thanks for tuning in to this edition of Sunday Sitdown. I'm your host, Nick Flammia. Pleased to be joined today by Tampa Yankee manager Patrick Osborn. Ozzy, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. And, the first half just came to an end last week, and you led the Tampa Yankees to a 42-27 record, which led them to the first half North title. They're going to make the playoffs for the first time since 2010. How does it feel to be the one to bring them back?
Well, it feels good, but it's a collaboration of a lot of different people, not just myself. Obviously, the staff: Tom Slater, Tim Norton, Michi Hernandez, Antonio Pacheco, Mike Becker, Joe Ciara, Pat Hafner. Everyone that's a part of this deal has played a role. And obviously, we couldn't have been there without the players. They're the ones that get on the field every day and the blood, sweat, and tears, and grind out, long days to find ways to win games. And so, it's on them. It's not me.
Since joining the New York Yankees organization in 2014, you've made the playoffs annually, taking the Gulf Coast League Yankees to the playoffs in 2014. Then last year, you took the Staten Island Yankees to the New York Penn League Championship.
You got to have good players, bottom line, and I've had that every year I've been a part of this organization. And I've been lucky enough to manage teams with good players and good people. They're good people as well. And when you have that combination and you put yourself in a position to win games, and it makes my job easier. Bottom line is when you have kids that have talent that also love to play with each other.
And you had several top prospects on this team. A couple of names to note. The offense, first of all, Miguel Andujar was very impressive, had some great plate discipline this year. Billy Fleming consistently hit above 300. And then, of course, Jorge Mateo flashed his speed and ranked high among the hitters in the Florida State League. Who impressed you the most?
Gosh, tough question, Nick, because like you said, we had multiple guys that put up outstanding numbers in the first half. Billy Fleming was really, really good. Mark Payton was really good. I would probably say Miggy, though. He was so good this year, first half, with his plate discipline, which you mentioned. This kid that my first time seeing him this year, and there were some reports that he previous years had trouble laying off the breaking ball, particularly the bad breaking ball, that's in the dirt. And he was able to make that adjustment, and I think because of that, that kind of propelled him to where he's at now, which is in Trenton. He was able to put up some big numbers here in the first half. He was kind of cornerstone to the middle of that lineup. And he, along with the other guys you mentioned, are the reason we're in the position we're in.
Andujar put up 41 RBI, and as of a couple of days ago, he was still tied for the league lead with those 41 RBI despite being in Trenton. Going to the pitching side of things, we spoke before the half started. You mentioned how great a rotation you were given with James Caprillion, who definitely turned a lot of heads before he went to the disabled list. Vicente Campos, a 40-man roster guy, he got a promotion as well after pitching very well with Tampa. Though the name that sticks out the most to me and many, Chance Adams, who went 5-0 with an ERA of about 2.5, and he got a promotion as well, was named an All-Star. How surprising was it to see that out of Adams?
It was, put it this way, the kid, I saw him last year at Staten Island. He was a reliever. The first time you see him, obviously his arm strength sticks out. He's got an electric fastball. So that kind of was what, I guess, separates him from other people. Now we decided let's throw this guy in the rotation, see how he does. And I think early on he didn't quite buy into it. He was still, I'm a reliever. I just want to go one inning and go 100 miles an hour. Get my 3 outs and be done. But I think he started to have a little success, and he thought, man, I can do this. And the development of the changeup, along with the fastball, the curveball, and then his slider is a devastating out pitch. So he was a stud. I mean, we really took some hits in the pitching department. We lost Caprillion. We lost Brody Corner, who looked really, really good for the couple starts that he had here. Obviously, Campos goes up. Chance goes up. So we've had a lot of new faces in the rotation, but we've kind of just restocked. We've had some guys come up from Charleston, done a heck of a job. But Chance was great, and he deserves every bit of the promotion that he received.
And Chance, you mentioned you saw him last year with Staten Island. This new restock of players we've received from the Charleston River Dogs, who also made the playoffs, by the way, for the first time in 11 years. Congratulations to them. But now the Tampa Yankees get a top prospect in Domingo Acevedo, and they've also had great success with Josh Rogers. And these are guys you also saw last year.
Yeah, I had both of them. I had Josh briefly in Staten Island after the draft. He made a couple appearances, and he stood out right away. He was better than a league, so they bumped him up to Charleston, and he finished there. And then Domingo, I had him all season in Staten Island, and he really took off his last probably 6-7 starts. He was just dominant, you know. And we were hoping to get to him there in the championship game, Game 3. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but he's here. He probably could have started here. He would have taken some lumps like everyone does when they skip a level or two. But he's good enough, and he has good enough stuff to make those adjustments, and that's a big thing. Josh comes up here, Josh Rogers, in first couple starts, he had some adversity, but now he's on a roll, and he's throwing the ball well. And Domingo had a good first start. His last start wasn't as good, but that's what it's about. These kids are going to run into some bumps, and it's how they deal with them.
Now let's wrap this segment up with a couple of get-to-know-you questions. Patrick Osborn, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? That's a tough question because I have multiple. I would say I love barbecue ribs. That's a big favorite of mine. And I love Mexican food. I grew up in California. Authentic Mexican food, you can't beat it. But those two would probably be my go-to choices.
How about Patrick Osborn's favorite style of music or favorite artist?
Ooh, I listen to a lot of different types of music. You know, I'm a big 90s hip-hop fan. That's kind of when I was growing up. West Coast, you know, Snoop Dogg, Tupac. I love Bob Marley, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters. If you looked on my Pandora, there'd be 20 different stations, all different genres. So yeah, I'm an eclectic music guy.
How about if I looked on your Netflix account? What do you watch TV-wise?
I'm big into Game of Thrones right now, and I'm a tough sell when it comes to shows because I get bored very easily. But this is the first time that I've just been sucked into a show, and I'm on season 6 now. I'm trying to catch up. I tried to get into Breaking Bad, watched it, followed it for a while, and then I just lost interest. But Game of Thrones has got me hooked.
That's got a lot of people hooked. Very popular nowadays, Game of Thrones. How about your favorite sport outside of baseball?
Football. Loved football growing up, played it. My brother played football in college. My dad was a college football player. You know, and I love college. I love NFL. It was probably the most fun sport to play for me. You know, I just wasn't quite fast enough to continue on. And I think I made the right choice. But I enjoy basketball too. I like soccer. You know, shoot, really anything that involves a ball, I'll enjoy playing it or watching it.
Now, if you weren't managing the Tampa Yankees, if you weren't a professional baseball manager, what career path would you take?
Ooh, good question. Really good question. I'm going to be honest. I don't really know. This is all I've ever wanted to do. I've never thought of a backup plan. If one day that obstacle arises, I will have to decide and face it head on. But this is all I've ever wanted to do, and I'm here and enjoying it, and I really don't know how to answer that. I don't know.
Well, the Yankees are certainly glad you're here. Ozzie, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Nick. We look forward to finishing out the second half and getting into that playoff series, and hopefully we can get hot and play well, and these kids can bring home a championship.
And that'll do it for this edition of Sunday Sit Down. I'm Nick Flammia. Thanks for tuning in. Alongside Patrick Osborn, we'll see you later and next time on the next edition of Sunday Sit Down.